So when I first started covering AMC back about 2 months ago, when I first started talking about AMC, I believed that it was all about, the short squeeze from like the $2 to $10 area up to $100. Now, I started talking about how a lot of people had very, very unrealistic goals or targets. And the more and more research that I've done into this play now, it's really interesting to see that people are actually believing that AMC is going to turn around their business at this point. And it's no longer, I've seen people like actual YouTubers talking about this, how it's not just about the squeeze anymore, it's about actually making AMC great again. And well, I'm going to talk about in this video some reasons, some very, very big red flags for AMC as a company, and why even with all of the hype and all of the meme traders and the ape army supporting them, I do not believe that AMC will succeed in the future as a company. And we're going to talk about I'm going to give you guys actual information today. So don't freak out. Don't hit the dislike button just yet. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Patrick here, live from my 1970s trailer. This is actually a 1970s house in Hawaii, up on a hill, looking down to the ocean. I know a lot of people out there are confused. They think I live in a trailer park, but I actually live in a very, very, very cool place. It's okay. This isn't paneling. This is actual wood. This house is a real wood house built in Hawaii. If you look at my videos, I have videos with over millions of views. I've been doing this since 2017. This is not like I didn't just wake up one day and decide to be a YouTuber. Another thing, guys, I'll make it very clear. My YouTube is not going anywhere, all right? This is not the first time that a horde of sheep have come to my YouTube channel and tried to say they were going to report my channel, try to shut down my channel, trying to dislike my videos. This is not the first time. I've dealt with this before, and guess what? I'm still here. All those sheep are gone, or now maybe they're apes. I'm not sure. But in general, this YouTube channel makes real money, and I know a lot of people out there, are trying to get rich here off AMC. And like I said before, 100%. Like, I would love to see AMC go to $1 million. That would it would make some really good content, and then I could also make money trading it. So at the end of the day, I have nothing against the idea that AMC could go to $1 million, but I'm really just kind of a very realistic person, and I'm actually just looking at the company itself and the play here. The question that needs to be answered is, at what point, if you bought down here at the $10 area, if it goes to 20, do you sell? If it goes to 10, do you sell? If it goes to $2, do you sell? At what point do you take profit on this trade, especially if you bought it at $10? Now, personally, like I said, I would have probably taken profit up here because this was a beautiful trade all day. Congratulations to everyone who made that trade. Congratulations to the people who took profit. And the people say that I'm going to eat my words, I'm going to shut down my channel if AMC goes to the moon. Guys, I'm a trader. This is a day trading channel. We trade the action, the momentum. Right now, the momentum is not on AMC. Obviously, it's going lower and lower on AMC. I could have bought puts, 100%. I could have bought puts, but I bought calls thinking we were going to break above 65 here and go to 100. I bought into the hopium. I get it. I'm not mad that I lost money on the trade. It's part of it. That's part of trading in general. So it's not that I'm like upset and I have some kind of vendetta against AMC at this point. But let's get into what the real deal is here on AMC. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about diamond hands, and to the moon. Let's hold and hold. Like I said, if you bought at $10 and it drops to 20, you're up 100%. If it drops to $10, you're now break even. If it drops to $8, at what point do you take profit? So that's this whole argument here of like, we're going to hold until it goes up. Well, what if it never goes up? And like I said, it's not that I don't want it to go up. It's just a question of looking at the chart and looking at the momentum at this point. Momentum obviously is really hurting at this point. And I know like people are going to compare this to GME. If you go back, let's look at GME. So we had this big, massive squeeze on GME. It went from $19 up there to $477. It pulled back down to the $40 area. It had a second squeeze up there to $349. It pulled back to the $150 area. It had a third squeeze up to $350. So it has not reached its previous first squeeze high once. It got stuck twice at the same area. It has now pulled back multiple times this area. And the more and more that this support is being tested, the better the chance that this finally breaks down to the downside at this point, the $8 area. And I know people think that this wasn't a squeeze, that this was just all because of retail buying, but it was a squeeze. At the end of the day, when a stock goes from $10 to $76, $75, that's a squeeze. I don't care what anyone says. When a stock moves from $40 to $70 in one day on basically hot air, that's a squeeze. So just to get that out there, people keep comparing GameStop and how GameStop had a huge, massive squeeze, but GameStop never got back to the highs of its first original squeeze. So let's say this pushes up here again in the $60 area. Does it mean that it's going to go to the moon? Well, looking at GameStop with the two tops, like we just looked at. So let's talk about the actual business here on AMC. So at the end of the day, the biggest profitable month or biggest profitable. All right, so let's talk about the actual company here itself, the money. They're actually, I know people believe they can just buy the stock and they can just make the stock go higher and higher and the company will succeed. There has to be an actual business here, and the business has to make money for them to stay in business and not close their doors one day. The thing is, AMC had their biggest or their most profitable year in the past decade in 2013. That was 7 years ago. They spent $2 billion acquiring businesses and acquiring other strategic partnerships between 2015 and 2017. But the fact remains that 2013 was their most profitable year in the past decade. The thing is, like I said, at the end of the day, people can buy the stock hoping that it goes higher. But the problem here is if the company cannot survive, it doesn't matter how many apes own the stock. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter how many apes own the stock if the company itself cannot survive. And at the end of the day, like I said, the money is what is important here, okay? Money, money, money. Just so everyone knows. So also there's this idea going around as well that the apes are going to hold as long as it takes for the shorts to cover. That they can hold longer than the shorts can remain solvent. All right, so I've seen this all the time. I've seen this a lot. And it's very interesting because at the end of the day, these funds and these shorts have a lot of money and they can hold these shorts much longer than the apes can, especially when the price is going sideways. Guys, like if this price is going sideways like this for this long, it just makes it easier, number one, for those hedge funds to be selling options or to be buying puts to basically work on their price average. If they have a bad price average, let's say a lot of hedge funds, people believe they shorted, down here in the $30 area. If I'm a short and I'm able to start selling calls, start buying puts up here in the $60 area, I could basically get to a point, the more that this goes sideways, the more that AMC goes sideways, the easier it is for me to start selling options because I can sell out of the money options. I can collect the premiums. This is what hedge funds can do very, very easily. Remember, they're experts in this field. They can sell options, collect the premium, and still, at the end of the day, make money while the stock is going sideways. This is a very, very good scenario for the hedge funds. This is not a good scenario for the apes because, number one, like I said in other videos, at some point, this movement will become tired. They will get over it at some point. I know people don't believe it right now, but at some point, a year from now or 6 months from now, there will start to be less and less hype, less and less people trying to hold forever. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. That will die down at some point. And I've seen this before in the past. I know a lot of people will say, that's not how this movement is. This movement is about taking down the hedge funds and making AMC great again. But guys, this is very, very, interesting in a sense that at some point the hype will die down. We've seen this before with other stocks over the last 5 years of my trading experience here. I've been doing this for 5 years now, and I've seen this before. This is not the first squeeze that retail traders have tried to make happen. So in 2015, AMC acquired Starplex Cinemas for $172 million. They then bought Carmike Cinemas for $1.1 billion in 2016. They then bought Nordic Cinema Group for $964 million in 2017. So putting apart the pandemic, if you focus on 2018, 2019, when obviously the pandemic was not a part of the business factor, if you were a AMC shareholder during this time, you would expect there would be a profit, right? An increase between 2018 and 2019. After making $2 billion in acquisitions, like I said, they spent $2 billion between 2015 and 2017 to strengthen their portfolio or strengthen their business model. But in 2018 and 2019, before the pandemic, their stock price still was plummeting and their profits were still plummeting. So for the fiscal year of 2018 and 2019 combined, AMC was in the red by $39 million. So after they spent $2 billion in acquisitions, they then lost $39 million in 2018 combined. So the question is, even if this company is able to raise more money to have more strategic partnerships, what will that actually do for the business model itself? It's obviously not working. They've already spent $2 billion on acquisitions that basically netted them $39 million in the red after that deal. So the big problem is, at the end of the day, AMC's gross profit margin has stayed flat for a decade while their net income never improved. Investors were buying shares of the company that generated its largest profit in 2013, but in 2015, the stock price was $36, and then in 2017, the stock price was $36. Now, and that was after having, a really good year and having those acquisitions, buying those companies, spending billions of dollars on acquiring different companies. So AMC's best year to date, like I said, was 2013, as they generated $364 million in net income. This is more than triple the profit of any other year in the 2010s. After AMC acquisitions were made, they lost $487 million in 2017, turned a profit of $110 million in 2018, and then lost $149 million in 2019. The $2 billion they spent on improving their business and expanding AMC's business model didn't accomplish its goals. AMC's margin never improved, and for a decade, its gross profit margin couldn't break 20%. To the man himself, Warren Buffett, he has a general rule here that companies' gross profit margins of 40% or better tend to be companies with some sort of durable competitive advantage. Companies with a gross profit margin below 40% tend to be companies in a highly competitive industry where competition is hurting overall profit margins. And obviously we know that movie theaters are in a very highly competitive market. Number one, because of Netflix, because of Amazon, because of the home movie theater at this point. So recently we had new numbers coming from the movie theater chain. We had new numbers coming from Disney. Stuff reopening, people getting back to going out and spending money. So recently Black Widow movie came out. It posted record-breaking numbers at the box office since the pandemic started. In the past few weekends, it grossed $80 million. But there's two major problems here. The first problem is that AMC was going to have a catalyst to rally around. This obviously should have been it. We saw no rally after that news came out. And then the idea is that Black Widow reopening should have signaled that the movies are back and AMC is getting back on track. It did not. It did not have an effect on the stock price in a positive way. The second problem here is that this is a disaster actually for AMC and its numbers. For Disney, it's great because Black Widow pulled in $80 million domestically, $78 million internationally, and $60 million through Disney+. For AMC, this is the beginning of a nightmare though. 27% of the entire Black Widow revenue was generated through Disney+, and AMC did not see a single dime. With domestic and international split almost evenly, let's say hypothetically that 51% of Disney occurred domestically. So this would mean that AMC lost out on roughly around $30 million in revenues from those people viewing the movies on Disney+. So again, you have a major competitive disadvantage here because people are viewing movies now on Disney+. They're viewing movies on Netflix. They're viewing movies on Amazon. And well, those are very, very hard competitors for AMC to battle at this point. It was bad enough with AMC fighting Netflix and Amazon. Now they're obviously fighting Disney+ as well. So the question really is, you've got Disney, you've got Amazon, you got Netflix producing their own content. Are they going to release that content through AMC in the future? I would say they're probably not, because at this point, if they can sell the movies right on their own platform, they're going to end up making more and more money. And well, we all know how that goes with these companies. They want to make money, right? So at the end of the day, everyone is very, very excited about AMC. I've seen videos, people talking about how AMC is going to be turned around because of the ape army holding the float and how this company is going to become profitable moving forward. The question is, if they couldn't do it after spending $2 billion in the past, what can they do now by spending more and more money on acquisitions and strategic partnerships? If you bought AMC at $10 and you didn't sell when it went to 70, at what point do you end up selling? Now, again, like I said, there's always a chance. Obviously, there's always a chance that there's a squeeze to come, that this massive rally happens, and I can sit here and say, hey, I was wrong. It happened. But at the end of the day, the company itself, the numbers do not lie. The company has been losing money since 2013, basically. That was their most profitable year of the 2010s. So we should have seen some type of impact for those $2 billion in acquisitions. We should have seen, some type of movement in the needle, but instead we saw the opposite, and the company has been losing money since spending all that money on acquisitions. So again, here we are, and the company is talking about how they're going to use money from, selling shares, from trying to do more offerings in the future for strategic partnerships, but those strategic partnerships have never actually worked in the past. So is the CEO just totally, mind blown at this point? Are they running out of ideas? How does the company really turn around at this point? Really, I just don't see how AMC, how movie theaters can turn around at this point. So a lot of people think that I don't understand the movement here of trying to, buy up the float, hold the float, squeeze the shorts. I understand the premise here. But like I said originally in the beginning of this video, or in many videos that I make, at some point, the hype, the motivation, to hold this stock, to beat Wall Street, at some point, that hype is going to die down. People will start to get burnt out. People will start to sell or buy other stocks or go and FOMO into other stocks. Like I said earlier, 100% people made money. This is not a video to diss the idea of people making money on this play. I know people made money on this play. Congratulations. People that followed Trey's trades made money on this trade. Trey made money on this trades. That has never been my argument here. My argument now is, at what point do people start to actually think about what is going on here with AMC? Because now that I've actually seen people here on YouTube talking about how they're going, how the ape army is going to save the business here. Well, the company just was able to sell all those shares, get all that money, but they were never able to actually generate profit from all that. So what does that actually tell us? They spent all that money on those acquisitions. The company, the business model is broken. At some point in the future, AMC will go bankrupt. They will close their doors. This will be done at some point. I don't know exactly at what point that will happen. I don't know if it'll go to $1 million first or if it goes to zero first. But at the end of the day, the business model itself is not working. The idea that shareholders are buying offerings, buying stock so the company can raise capital to stay alive, well, there's clearly an issue here, my friends. There's clearly an issue with the business model. It does not work. It is failing. And at the end of the day, businesses that do not make money do not stay in business forever unless, you're revolutionizing the world. And I saw, it was actually a really funny comparison today. Someone compared Tesla and AMC. Said how AMC, doesn't make money. Well, Tesla doesn't make money. Well, that is a terrible, terrible comparison. You cannot compare Tesla and AMC at any point ever. You just cannot do it. That makes absolutely zero sense at this point. And even with how insane sometimes Tesla is with the numbers and stuff, you can't compare the two. So there it is. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you believe the ape army can actually save this company, or is this purely just speculation on the idea that they're thinking that stock price is going to go to the moon? Or is there actually a turnaround here for AMC? I'll talk to you guys later. If you haven't already, do me one big favor. Hit that like button, subscribe button, all the buttons down below. I'll talk to you guys later on.